Are we live? We seem to be live on Twitch. Are we live on YouTube? And I think we're live on YouTube. Excellent. Welcome to Code Hangout number 171. We're going to continue our work on the large puzzle UI. But today I want to tackle something we've already started in the past, which is some customizations to the layout. For example, for these kind of puzzles, you might want to have the controls off to the side. And the code for that currently is just floating around in here. It's just loose files that aren't even saved anywhere. So I want to change that today. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it... I might make it part of the large puzzle UI just for now, because that's still experimental anyways, but it might get split out separately down the line. And we might add some features to make the large puzzle UI more easily testable. So right now there's just a toggle, it should be under experimental, and it's just enable, right? But you might want to be able to lock it in, especially if it is dependent on other things, you know, for the layout, for example. Or should I make it? I'll keep them together for now, because there's going to be some interaction between those. But maybe the custom layout stuff might be a separate toolkit that the large puzzle UI down the line will utilize. Let me open the large puzzle UI tool. Oh, and let me get up my GitHub just to see that I don't have pending changes. Yeah, for example, this, we want to get rid of that. Don't need that right now. All right. And we have the large puzzle UI right here. Large puzzle. There we go. And let's see. We gotta get to the right collapse level. Here. Okay, so here we have our event handlers for the mouse. Excuse me. And of course, right now it doesn't really work for mobile, and it doesn't really work for touchpads on laptops either, because it's, you know, I gotta work on the core functionality first before I'm gonna work on all that. But I might start, you know, I've already gotten a lot of feedback, and I think a lot of people use touchpads on laptops, so something that's mouse only doesn't really suit them. We'll see, we'll see. Okay, I also had an email. This is something else we need to look into. I had an email about this puzzle, and they were kind of struggling on their phone. Let me see if I can get this to a phone look. Now, obviously, right now, I don't actually have access for the phone stuff. Let's have a quick look how hard it is actually. See, for example, I can get the scroll wheel. Let me think. How do I did have a Wi-Fi thingamajig hook up to my phone here. If I can do that quickly. But I didn't have the display working, so for the stream, this would be less than ideal. Where's my developer mode? Did I lose my developer mode? Developer options. Wi-Fi? Not Wi-Fi. Whoa. Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. Wireless debugging. Enable. All right. So then we probably need a Windows console here. And I think that's us. Whoops. So if I now go here and go to the devices tab, my nose is tingling already. My face has realized the stream has started. Excuse me. Here we go. It takes a while to load. Maybe it isn't connected. Wireless ADB debugging was off. Okay. I'm trying to remember. I thought there was something else I need to press. Yeah, here we go. Maybe it was ADB connect 192.168.1.213:39869. Boom. Okay. That's a different device. What's this one then? Maybe my tablet. Okay, so now I might have to go to a browser window. and open localhost, for example. Okay, it's working. That implies that I should see something here. And there it is. Excellent. Where is the tab? If I do this, 1 second. It's got to be here somewhere. Ah, here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay. Now, I probably want a test puzzle for large UI stuff. So I need something that trigger either that, or I just yeah, I could just hack this to always be triggering. So I think what we have like a min max something here somewhere. Min zoom level. Is there another limitation? Max base scale. If this max base scale, okay, so if I say max base scale equals that, right? And then if I refresh this, oh, there we go. Why is it so big? Doesn't make sense. Why is it so big? Doesn't make sense. This makes no sense. Alright, let me just refresh it here. Right now, I don't know what it's doing. Definitely not refreshing. Why is it not refreshing now? It should be refreshing. Yeah, I don't know why ADB is so unreliable. It used to be reliable a long time ago, but in recent years, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And it seems like Google just doesn't care. It never fixed anything. Like, any of this working. The page doesn't load. Obviously, the ADB connection isn't working. And now I don't get the UI anymore? One second. The problem is, it can only load that page if the ADB connection is working. But maybe I cannot connect to it unless I have the page loaded. So it's a bit of a... Yeah, no, this is completely gibberish. It's not showing me what's actually happening. And it takes so long to refresh the list. Like, I don't know, 20 seconds or something. I don't know why it takes so long. It's like, it's just sitting there for so long without listing anything. All right, so it's loading the remote page. But devices shows nothing. ADB command line show browser tabs. I mean, I know that there's ways of loading a particular URL. But that's not exactly what I want. The Chrome Dev Tools Remote Debug Slow. I mean, I've spent hours looking at this before. Slow and laggy. Slow. Yeah, not the Chrome debugger. It's not rendering. It's like populating a menu. It just doesn't work. It's like ADB is frozen or something. Ah. Chrome, inspect devices, empty. Like, is there a way of debugging the debugger, so to speak? Yeah, I don't think any of this is gonna work. Like, all of this works if you don't have a problem. But if I didn't have a problem, I wouldn't come to Stack Overflow. That's kind of a flaw with these kind of problems. Okay, now suddenly something happened, like a minute later. Why? And the tab that I have open in front of me right now doesn't appear on the list. Can I open a different one? Can I do this? Local host 9012/SCF. Click open here. Does that do anything? All right, I can open it, but it doesn't show up on the DevTools. Which is very strange, because I could understand it not showing anything at all, but showing a list that's out of date. And it doesn't even show, like, these are not the tabs in that order in my browser on my phone. I don't know where they come from. Like, they're in there somewhere, but it's like a state, maybe it's in reverse order. Let's refresh again. Takes forever to populate. Oh, man. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have even tried. And that's part of the reason why it's so difficult to do anything. Alright, if I inspect this. Okay, this is very strange, because what I'm seeing on my screen is not what you seem to be seeing. What I'm seeing on my restream. Okay, is the stream not up to date? Oh no, it's just really late. Okay, that's very strange. Okay. Let's clear all of that. Let's start Chrome from scratch. Okay. Let's refresh this. Once again. Because these are not real. Like, whatever it thinks it's showing me here. Okay, so this looks real. Yeah, and now I'm getting actually user interface as well. Okay, the whole point is that I want to be able to look at what happens with different kinds of events, right? So right now, the pan events, I don't even know if they're firing, right? So let's put that in here. And let's put something in here. And let's put something in here. All right, and now if I refresh this, hopefully it doesn't just immediately implode. And again, I have no idea why it should take this long to reload. Not like the server's doing anything here. Why is it stuck? Like, the files are all loading here, except for this one. One file is not loading for some reason. There's something happening on my computer. Why? What is slowing things down? Oh. This, please. Also, I don't know why I can't adjust this. It doesn't seem to scale at all, this display. It's so weird. Come on, load the page. What is the problem? Like, I don't know if I'm actually talking to a functional, like, I can't press enter here, so I don't think I'm talking to a functional process here. Which means probably that once again, the actual inspector is broken, which means that's why the redirect through localhost is broken. What if I don't redirect through localhost for a sec? 1 second. If I go to 192.168. Whatever this machine is, right? 2.1.254. If I go here, does that reach the 180? I don't know where the 254 came from. Okay. So then it wouldn't go through the proxy. But I think the real problem is that this thing isn't real. It's just pretending to be. Like, nothing is happening in the phone when I type something here into the inspector. So once again, I kill the browser, restart the browser from scratch. Refresh the inspector tab over here. Wait, God knows how long. I need to find a more reliable way of doing this because it's such a waste of time. I mean, I'm trying to use it wireless, and again, it should just work. It should be. Shouldn't have. It's frustrating that it works occasionally, and it's exactly what I need, but then it randomly doesn't work, and when it doesn't work, it doesn't say anything, it doesn't report any errors, it just stalls out, and it never even says, oh, timed out or anything, you know, that would be at least helpful. I don't even know if it's not working, right? Like, maybe there's something else going on. Who knows? Impossible to know. Alright. So, I don't need wireless debugging anymore. Can I disable wireless debugging now? Wireless debugging off. USB debugging on. Okay, so now maybe it'll be faster. So now if I go here and do ADB devices, that one is offline. Even though it's kind of the same one. This one should not work. Okay. Well, let's see. Maybe this is more reliable. And this should have the new code already. Might have to enable a large UI. Okay, so the wheel works. Okay, so handle pan works on 2 fingers. Okay, so let's see if there's some easy way. JavaScript, detect, pinch, zoom. Is there a way of detecting these kind of gestures? And can I just hook them in? Patient UI, miscellaneous function, cache management, event logging, see also. Pinch zoom gesture. Pinch zoom and out gesture. Moves the 2 pointers away from each other. Background define touch target, blah, blah, blah. Do I have to do I have to do my own geometry basically? Yes, it looks like it. Ah, that's painful. Okay, so we kind of on touch move. All right. So, we have attach elements. We'll do something like dot on or handle. What's the events that they want us to look at? Last touch. No. Browse synthesize the wheel event for pinches on a trackpad as a bonus. You also handle mouse wheel events as the wheel event. Yeah, but the I don't think the wheel event gives us pan. Pointer move. All right, handle pointer move. Okay. Let's just throw it in there and see what happens. And we can do add handler, pointer move, put handle pointer move. And this is kind of the foundation of all of mouse handling stuff. Okay, let's hope this will just refresh and not be a big drama. Yeah, so the tab is dead, but it feels like the moment I press refresh here, the connection to the phone broke, but the phone never got the refresh command. And now the phone cannot refresh. So that killed the ADB connection. Browser refresh kills ADB session. Why? Is there a reason why that would happen? Well, we're connected wire cable now. In theory, we should just still be connected. Here's the device. But Chrome doesn't seem to know it exists. Is there a command I can use? Check ADB connection. I wish just something would tell me, oh, this thing aborted or this got broken. Is there an ADB remove command? ADB disconnect. There's an ADB connect. So ADB devices. Can I just go ADB disconnect? I don't know what this is. It might be a tablet. ADB devices, ADB shell. So that shell should go into the phone, right? But you see nothing. It's like ADB shell frozen. So any reason why this would be frozen like this? And the only reason I'm actually spending some time on this is because this is something that's troubled me so many times. And eventually, I'd like to, I think fixing this will actually help me. Okay, so something happens after a long time. So ADB freeze. Why would it be frozen for so long? Yeah, we got an strong with this graph 10 pieces. Killing the server and restarting it. But I can't do this all the frickin' time. So... okay, now it reloads. Alright, and we've got pointer move. If I do this... okay, let's hide the other event. And pointer move. And what we've seen, what we're supposed to be paying attention to is target the cache. So it's this gives us one pointer move, but it doesn't give me 2 points, right? With a distance between them. That doesn't make any sense. Global status are 2 pointers gestures. Requires preserving a pointer event state during the various event phases. Application uses 2 global variables to cache the events. Ref diff. Okay. So what do we get? Event cache push event. But which part of the event are we looking at? Pointer ID. So the event is supposed to have a pointer ID. And it's kind of trying to cache them by pointer ID. Okay. This function is a 2-pointer horizontal pinch zoom gesture. The distance between the 2 pointers has increased zoom in. Okay. It wants 2 pointers, but... okay, so it looks at the first and the second element. So the last 2 things. But this event cache, it just pushes things. So it's expecting multiple pointer down events. Okay, so let's have a look at those. Pointer down. Pointer down. Right. And we'll just do pointer down here, pointer down here. Okay. All right, at least it refreshes. So put 2 fingers down. It gets us 2 pointer down events. And I'm guessing this has a pointer ID 2. And pointer ID. Pointer ID. Where is it? Pointer ID 3. Okay. So let's output just those. For now, because I think that gives us a more useful set of information here. For example, if I put in 3 fingers down, like I have 2 fingers and I'm moving and pinching and zooming. If I carefully only move 1, nothing. What? You see, I'm not getting any pointer move events here, even though I'm getting events from the lower level layers. I wonder if I need to handle these on the window level or the document level. Just so I can capture them before anything else. I mean, I have to capture as true. And you see now this, boom, doesn't work anymore. And I'm pretty sure that means my ADB shell is gone as well. Yeah, typing anything here doesn't do anything. So I'm pretty sure my ADB is dead again. And it could also be because my USB cable here is loose. That's why I didn't want the cable. Okay, can I now refresh this? Do I have to reconnect? This probably doesn't refresh. And I have to find my inspector tabs. And again, it's giving me everything except the tab that I'm looking for. Or is it this one? Okay. It is not refreshing though. Am I asking it here to preserve the log? No. So this should have been a complete refresh with a clear console. That's very strange. All right. So I can move 3, I can move 2, and I can move 2 and 3. And I can add a 4th, and I can remove a 4th. Okay, so that's the idea, that basically for each pointer ID, we have a pointer up, pointer down, and we're adding them to the list of tracked points. And we have to remove it from the list of tracked points, basically. And we have to hope to God that the pointer up and pointer down events are pairs and work as they're supposed to. And the odds of that happening are basically 0, unfortunately. So if I do something like p dot let's just say p dot pointers pointer inputs equals boom, right? And then we'll just say this dot pointer inputs and pointer ID equals event, and pointer inputs will do delete like this. And then here I kind of want to compare the two. We can do something like this. Object.keys, this.pointer inputs, just to get a list of the current IDs being tracked. And also, now we don't have an input, we don't have a display anymore. Great. And this, I think, is dead now. Ah, maybe this is the one that's still working. Doesn't seem to be that way. Now the tab apparently in the list has jumped to the top where it was before on the bottom. And now we've lost our UI. Great. Why is ADB so buggy? And this, I've built a whole new computer and it hasn't fixed anything. Nothing has changed about that. It was exactly the same thing on the other computer. So ADB is a hot mess and people are supposed to be developing applications using that out there. And this is not the new version of the code either. There we go. Like, for example, here I have now 3 events, even though I've only put 1 down. And now I'm tapping and the event is just not firing anymore. And I'm guessing, yeah, and we lost our connection again. Holy crap. I don't know. What am I supposed to do with that? I don't know. What am I supposed to... it's been years. ADB server crash. ADB breaks every few seconds. Switching from a USB 3.0 port to a USB 2.0 port solved the problem. Let's try that. Have a USB. It's something as silly as that. It's very possible. But this shouldn't be arcane magic like that. It really should not. The thing is, it shouldn't happen on Wi-Fi then, you know? Okay, let me unplug, let me plug in, boom. I mean, the phone says USB debugging connected, right? That's kind of all we should be needing. There's the device. So ADB thinks it's connected. Chrome hasn't caught up yet. Oh, there it is. Can I now load this page? Okay. It's not this one. Yeah, these pages aren't real. Is it this one? No. Is it this one? Apparently, just without display, for some reason. Okay. Okay, at least it seems to be tracking these events. For a few seconds, it seems to be tracking these events. All right. Let's take what we can get. So, sheesh. Okay. Now, when we have a 3-point gesture, do we care about the third point? Or do we just look at the first 2 points, and if a third point joins, we just ignore it? One thing this doesn't give us is gives us the order by having this as an index-based thing. So the one that I saw in the example was basically based on an array, and it was just pushing the events into the array. So let's try that, because then at least we can say, okay, the 2 first events, right? So we can do this. And then we can do this over events dot push event, right? And then here we're going to do boom. And then instead of this, it'll be dot index off, or find index. Something like that. Right. And now, to refresh this, can I just press F5 here? Please. Nope. Nope, it's already dead. Okay, so this is dead. Does it still exist over here in the inspector thing? Inspect. Okay, so this one seems to be running. So maybe just this tab is gone? 1 + 1. I pressed F5, it still works. I can't press this. Document... location... document... dot history... No? Okay, let me just do it from the phone here. Okay, so it's restarting here. That's something. Okay, it gives us indexes here. And while we're pressing, we should output this. And we'll probably output that as well. And then just refresh it from here because I don't trust this refresh down here. Okay. And we should be able to just do a splice. So, boom. Let IDX equals this. IDX, right? And then we'll do if IDX is greater than or not equal to -1. We'll do, I'll just do this as well. We'll do pointer dot splice IDX 1. And then we'll output that afterwards. So in theory, I should now be able to refresh this. And now it doesn't load anymore. Again. Click inspect here. Nope. Still attached. Can't load anymore because the ADB connection died. Chrome ADB port forwarding stops. I mean, it works and then it stops, and it works and it stops, and it works and stops, and works and stops, stops, stops. Intermittent. Like, these are from 2012 for crying out loud. Why am I dealing with a problem from 2012? If more than one device emulator. Nope, I only have one device. Wait, what? Which device for that port to? We have devices, right? What is it? Devices /L. Yeah, okay. In see the D, E, and S options. D. Devices L. D. E. S. H. In ADB-H. See the ADNS options in ADB-H. Okay, ADB-H. Oh, ADB-E. -S. -E. So, D. Use USB device. Error if multiple devices connected. Use this PTV multiple TV. DE. So D. If I kill the browser again, restart Chrome, and I mean the ADB connection shouldn't check it. Nothing should change here. What does it want? You should forward that port to the device. So if you multiple devices, I don't have multiple devices, so this is probably not my problem. Chrome ADB inspect interrupted. Okay, now it refreshed, which I'm assuming means it now finally worked a minute later. So if I do this, okay. So pointer up, remove, we'll do this. Removed. And then we should be able to run this again, and it should come back with whatever, -1, right? All right. Can I refresh without everything breaking? Remove, removed. Remove, removed. Add it to removed, removed. And now we're at 0, even though I didn't release any fingers. Why do we get pointer up events here? Why do we get pointer up events here? I did not lift a pointer up. So I'm putting one finger down. Nope, nothing happening. Refresh and it's broken again. Restarting Chrome. Let's see if that does anything. Obviously now we don't have connection on that port anymore. This is no longer valid. Yeah, 65. This is like a million versions ago. 2018. Same problem. That's the last message in the bug report list. Very, very typical of of Google. All right. So I do 1, 2, 3. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, now I released one. Why did it release all the other ones? And now my fingers are all gone. Why does it do remove? 0. Removed 0, 1. Why do I get suddenly a bunch of pointer up events? I have a feeling these pointer up events are sort of synthetic somehow. Can we refresh this? 2, 3, 4. So I put 4 fingers down, 10, 11, and then pointer up, then another pointer down happened, pointer up. These events aren't things I've done. So, Android, JavaScript, pointer up events, triggering without releasing fingers. Without any touch swallowing. Ran into a problem where I just had draggle widget which failed in Android. The fix was to set touch action, just the dragging element. I mean, it's possible that it's an interference between different... Why is this highlighted? It's possible that it's some interference. 2, 3, 4. And now it's just generating random events. All right. I'm a bit worried that here I can't confirm if it's a problem interfering with other codes elsewhere on the site, with other events and things like that. So let's do a quick minimal sample here. Oop. So we'll make something like blah 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 blah. We'll do a body background hash, make it dark like that, and then here we'll do something like this, just so we have a clean environment. We'll do let el equals once el equals document.body. And then we'll do el.add event listener, and we'll just add kind of what we've done here. We'll have handle pointer down, pointer down, like that. Where's the rest of my file here? We'll do that for the other events as well. Not the character I wanted to see here. Up and move. We want up and move. right. We'll do something like this. Enter down. Events. Or just inputs. Okay. And then we'll basically replicate this. We'll do inputs.push on this one. Pointer down, pointer up, and pointer move. And then pointer up, we'll do this. Like that. Right. Inputs. Boom. Inputs. Right. And then pointer move for now. We just don't care. Okay. Test. Touch. Test. Multi-touch. Right. Save. And we'll get a shareable URL, hopefully. Stick it in here. Say open. See if that works. If it doesn't work, we'll go here and put that in here. That works. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, add event listener is not a function. Let's change that. EL add event listener. Document.body. On that. And cough. Argument list. That is not. Oh, Jesus Christ. The editor is not working correctly. Okay. Missing type add event listen is not a function. EL body dot add event small l. Oh, that's sneak in there. All right. How about now? Okay. So we can do this. Nope. Boom, boom, boom. Nope. Capture true. True. Body. This is supposed to be body. According to this, it's body. If I inspect this, it'll probably say body. No, except it'll say HTML. Alright. Width 100%. Height 100%. Margin 0. Adding 0. Boom. Alright. Okay. Pointer input's not defined yet. I copied a bunch of stuff from somewhere else. Where is pointer inputs? Inputs, pointer inputs. Here we go. Alrighty. Nope. Nope. Right? Which is off, right? So I pressed 3 down. I got a bunch of move events, which could be just me rolling my fingers. And no other events, and now nothing else works. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pointer move. So after the down events, I'm not showing the rest. Alright. Take that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, you see a lot of events queued up here now that aren't real, that weren't matched up. So there's a whole bunch of phantom events firing, and that's what I'm worried about trying to do this myself, because I don't trust any of this. 2 fingers down. A bunch of move events. I didn't move anything. And now, probably the browser's kicking in trying to capture stuff. Let me see if I can just do full page view here. 1 second. All right, let's see. 3, 3. It doesn't accept a 4th, even though on my phone it clearly shows a 4th input. And in fact, now it doesn't accept any others. So there's something else going on that I don't know and that I need to understand. JavaScript, pointer inputs, pointer down no longer registering. So after a certain number, they don't work anymore. Pointer down must not fire continually while the button is held. So you'll need to detect 2 events when the button is pressed. When was it? That's not the question, I'm pretty sure. Pointer events. Pointer, JavaScript pointer events unreliable. I mean, I could potentially talk to touched events directly, but they're obviously trying to stop me from doing that. Let's put the touch events in the mix just to maybe get some. So let's change inputs to pointers. Why can't I make this bigger? Pointers, 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 pointers. All right. Then we'll copy all of this. Touches. Boom. Right. And then we'll have touch start, touch end, and touch move. We'll have handle, touch start, touch end, and touch move. And we're all learning together here, hopefully. We'll have touch start, touch end, touch move, handle touch end. And then we'll change this to touches. Should not be inputs. And then touchies. All right, save. Now that'll be a mess of events, I imagine. And let's see if I can refresh this. Okay, still seems to work. Put 1 finger down, move it around. So we get touch move. And in fact, you know what? Let's hide the move events for now. Let's just see if we can handle starting and stopping of events. Let's not get too fancy here. I mean, the ADB seems more reliable now somehow. I don't know if I don't know what I shouldn't be able to do anything on the page to mess with ADB connectivity, obviously. I think that goes without saying. Let's make this a little larger. No, not larger than that. Okay, it's went small again. So 1 touchdown. 2 touchdown. Yeah. No. Can we disable that, please? Oh my god. Alright. 1 touchdown. 2 touchdown. 3 touchdown. 4 touchdown. 5 touchdown. 6 touchdown. 7 touchdown. 8 touchdown. 8. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I got rid of all the touch events. Where the hell are my pointer events? Where the hell are they? All right, let's do this. Let L0 equals touches dot length. L1 is touches dot length after. And then we'll just say touches went from IDX L0 to L1. And then we'll do the same thing here. Right? We'll do this, but for pointers. Pointers, 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 pointers. So these are going to be shorter. We're not going to show the events for now. They just make the lines long. And not here either. All right. Refresh all of that. I'm going to have 3 fingers on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 touch events. And we have 5 pointer events for some reason. If I add another one, we get another touch event. So I think something happens where the pointer events take over. So there's some browser, probably, what you're seeing here is probably zoom in, zoom out or something. Multi-touch zoom. That take over. And the pointer events no longer fire. And that's exactly the sort of thing. First of all, it would be nice if we could just get access to the zoom event, but apparently no. So then the question is, how do we manage many touches? We could ignore everything beyond the first 2, but what I'm worried about is that 1 finger will just count as 2. And I also feel like I shouldn't have to do this. This seems like something that's better left to the operating system, right? So JavaScript multi-touch filtering. So either maybe I should switch to some sort of existing library, so I'm not reinventing the wheel, in something that I don't have a lot of experience for and I don't have the right equipment to test well, or keep it like super primitive and simple. Like just take the first 2 points, ignore the rest, Pinch zoom handler. Very basic. Yeah, I don't want a basic. JavaScript. High quality multi-touch filtering. Multi-touch gesture filtering. Current Google Chrome style version stopped manually blocking pinch zoom, which was possible in older versions with following settings. Back on my kiosk from some random pinch zoom multi-touch. God. Disable pinch zoom multi-touch to protect the kiosk. Tight following, but nothing is stopping the kiosk from ignoring pinch zoom attacks. Touch action. This will prevent pinch zoom. How so far my meta user? No, did not work for me. Interfere with the normal event. Been working with touch screens during 2023. To work with the solutions will mess up multi-finger touch. Pressing a button with 2+ fingers will no longer work, or swiping with 2 fingers. People do weird things on big screens. The solution is at the browser level. It can be disabled in Chrome. Sorry, works for Opera also. An untouch move. And this seems to be overridden by React. Or the trick in index.js. Touch is brand default by cancel touch. One will unmode remove projects. Touches to length greater than 1. Prevent default. Passive of false. Jesus. Man, this is so terrible, the situation we're in right now, where we have to fight these weird behaviors. But to be honest, I kind of feel for how it all came to be, because I think in SudokuPad I'm in a similar situation vis-a-vis current puzzles and constraint design and things like that. It's not easy. Yeah, full responsibility, that's fine. Let us do that. I gotta love when they introduce a feature, then just remove it again. And of course, they complain that nothing is readable because the browser controls screw things up. Alright. So the question is, do I want to waste a lot of more time here? Do I want to implement a basic proof of concept for now and then work with that? Or do I just, you know, walk away from it all? I mean, one thing we have here right now is that at least we have an ordering of these touch events, right? And on touch move, at least, we should be able to do something like if blah 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 touches dot length is greater than 1, right? Console.log. I'll just do something like this. A B equals touches. A B. I mean, just quickly, right? If I do something like this, whoop, we have these two touch events. And we should be able to just calculate the distance between them through using just a basic distance formula between the x's and the y's, right? Do we get x's and y's out of these? No, we have to. Now, that's the other thing that I don't like. Why do I get 2 events, each with a 2-touch, or maybe even a 1-touch touch list? So this is a little... So, for example, if I take the first touch from this one and the first one from that one, I have a bit of a problem, right? So I don't actually know if that example from Mozilla can actually possibly work. All right, let's break all of, close all of these. That's just me still trying to get ADB to work correctly, which seems to be impossible, right? Client X, client Y. So the thing is, it doesn't actually look at the... Yeah, so this depends on the pointer stuff already being processed. So do I not even need to cache them anyways? Like, if I move 2... Let's do this, right? If I move 2 fingers... I don't actually see how many touch events I'm getting here. So if I do this and that, and this sort of stuff is what people underestimate when they say, "Oh, can you just make it work with?" It does work quite with touch. Yeah, nothing works with touch, if we're honest. So we don't get pointer IDs. I haven't even realized that. We don't even get pointer IDs on these things. Wait a second. What? We don't get pointer IDs, so we can't even search for them. What's going on? Wait a second. Don't get pointer IDs. God damn it. So the pointer IDs is something that the point system generates for us. Blah. If I do two things like this. You know what? Let's just do this for a sec. If I ignore everything else, I'll just... I can move this around, I can move this around, I can move both of them around. Okay. What does that look like? We get a touch list. And we get a blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, forget all of this for a sec. Right? And here we'll just say event.touches. Keep it simple. If I do this now, 2 fingers, 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, 6 fingers, length 6. Now we could literally just include all the fingers. So if you do a 3-finger pinch, it would still... Like, I could make a bounding box size. Because, you know, why not a 4-finger pinch, right? So, blah, 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 blah. Let's calculate a bounding box. Right? So we'll just do this. Let's let x0 equals 0. Let x0... We need something that's large, right? So we need x. So xy0 will be the bottom left, and xy blah 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 will be the top right. Either we do this, or we'll do something like min x, and we'll do something like math.min. We'll do this dot map, and it'll be client x. Like that. We'll get all the x's out of it. We'll spread them into a math.min call, and that'll get us a min x, right? Like, in theory, that should work. So we have 1, and immediately breaks. Okay, touches.map is not a function. Event.touches. Touches. So a touch list is not a... Okay, fair enough. Let's just do this then. Right? So we should be able to do something like this. Min slash max x. And then we'll do just something like this. And min max y. We'll just put all the y values to that. Right? And that should even work with a single finger. Then if I have 2 fingers, so min max goes from 1. So if I have 1, min and max are the same. If I have 2, if I have 3, it doesn't really change that much, right? All right, and then if we get a bounding box, what do we actually calculate here? The area, or do we calculate? So the mins and maxes of the x and y's, that get us an AABB, an axis-aligned bounding box. And then what we can calculate is either the change in size, so we can basically just take the area of it, right? Does that make sense? Change in area? Not really. We want the diagonal length, right? We want how big of an area the fingers contain. All right, so the diagonal of the thingamajig is... Okay, so we'll do min equals these two. Or we'll just do, we do a bounding box. We can just do this, right? We can do min x, min y, and then max x, max y. Right. And we can just output that. And then we can take our size, you know, it's our math dot square root of blah 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 a bb 0, and we want the x, so that's 2 0, right? So 0 is the smallest x, and 0 1 2 2 is the largest x. The largest minus smallest gives us the thing, and we'll just square that, right? And then we'll add the same thing for the y's. So that'll be 3 and 1. And we'll get the square root of that somewhere. Power of 2 plus this minus that to the power of 2. The sum of the squares, and we'll take the square root of that. And that's our size. And that should be it. Let's try it out. Okay. 2 fingers. 1 finger. Size is 0. 2 fingers. Smaller. Larger. Smaller. Larger. 80, 90. Smaller. This doesn't make sense. The x should be these two. The x slash dy. dy should be these two. Star 2 is square, right? I'm not going crazy here. Yeah. So, do that again. Boom. So delta x should be relative to, like, my fingers are right above each other, so delta x should be small. It is. Now I put them side by side. Delta x, y is small. Now I bring them closer together. 63. That's about as close as I can bring my fingers. I bring them further apart. This doesn't look right. X. Oh my god, this jittering is giving me a headache. If I move them further apart, so like this, they're right side by side. X0, XY, XY. So the third X should be smaller. The mins are first. So we have min, min, max, max. X, Y, Y. So the second X should never be... No, here it's larger. Now, problem is, I've probably zoomed in a lot. As I'm moving around, the sizes actually don't make a lot of sense then. Like, as I'm zooming out, my positions don't change. Okay, we'll probably want to use screen X then here, instead of client X. Like that. So that should be independent of whatever scaling happens to happen because I move my fingers around. It's like I can stop the scaling, or I need to be, I don't know. But I don't want to depend on that. All right, size 0. Why size 0 like this? Okay, size gets bigger, size gets smaller. Okay, and then we can do a delta size, right? Right? So we should be able to do something like let last size equals 0. Then we have size, and then we have delta size equals math last size. So if last size is larger and the size gets smaller, we want a negative delta size, right? Things have become smaller. So we'll want to do size minus last size. Right. And then instead of all of this, we'll probably get rid of touches. We'll just see dot length or count. I don't know. Yeah, no, we got a length here. And then instead of these three, we're just gonna say delta size. We'll just do math dot round to avoid a lot of the jumping around. And let's see how that works. ADB is stable here, so there's something my site is doing that kills the ADB for some reason. All right. All right, delta size. But now delta size should be not moving, yeah, because I'm not assigning it here. So last size, the size after delta size has been assigned. All right, and now got a point. Move my finger around, 0, 2 fingers. It's shrinking, it's enlarging. And the delta generally is small. This is just a change from one to the other. All right. And that should be our... Now it's positive. I'm moving my fingers apart, and that's negative. Now that should be something we can use basically like the mouse wheel. It's going to this, and it's this. And can I simplify anything here? We're grabbing out the x's and y's. This is not super complex. We're calculating the AABB. It doesn't need so much space. And then we're kind of doing that. I think that's kind of all we're doing here. And then the only difference is that we need to... The only other thing we need to handle is the delta since the last event, right? So handle touch move, right? That's this thing, right? Yeah. And then we can say we'll just do this dot last size if equals yeah, you know what? We'll just set it up. We'll just say something like and this shouldn't be P. We'll just say this dot last inch size equals 0. Right? We're gonna hide all of these for a sec. We'll add our new touch move handler here. Like that. Like that. Okay. Boom. So guys, about an hour? What time is it? 10 to 8. Okay. And then we'll have a delta size here. And I think that's all we need for a sec here. Of course, we can only test this on a touch device. Let's see if we can open a local host. Oh God. A dear God. Not this one. Not this one. Maybe this one? Alright, so we have a delta size like that. And the wheel stuff... Okay, so the wheel stuff is obviously a lot less jittery. So let's see. Wheel zoom delta max. Problem is with the wheel we have like a distinct something happened now, something happened now. With the pinch to zoom, we basically need a oh, the delta has exceeded a certain amount, right? So we'll basically want to say if delta size is greater than 10, then we'll do this. And now we'll have to see basically how much movement does that give us before we have a problem, right? Handle touch move delta size 10. So we'll want to do, instead of doing this, we'll want to do delta size here, right? And then every time it updates, it should, so we exceeded 10. Ah, the absolute value. Okay, if math.apps delta size is greater than 10. So, pinch in, handle touch. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so it's not too bad. So each of these represents, well, we did a thing, right? And then, instead of doing all of this down here, we'll want to do a p.handle zoom. Right? And what do we get from the thing here? Zoom step. Zoom delta. Zoom delta. So we want the zoom delta to be handle zoom. So this should just be in out. So this should be in out. And in out should be 1 or -1, right? And then it should handle all the other stuff. All of this other stuff should be happening here. Probably without that, right? And then this should be the in-out value, right? And we should be able to do -1 times that. Should be the in-out value. Pause is used down here, so we don't even use it here yet. Let's try this quickly. Like this, and then math sign, -1 math sign. What does that look like? We should be able to just test that quickly. Here. Here. So that's negative. So in is 1, so that's a positive zoom, and out is -1. Okay. And each click, then we just want to call handle zoom in out. So basically, instead of all of this and more, we just want to do this dot handle zoom in out, and then we want to pass this in. Then here we want to do this and kind of that, and then instead of this zoom delta, it's just the zoom. You know, now I think it's inverted at this point, right? How does that work on maps? We scroll up, we go bigger or smaller? Go bigger. Okay, so it's inverted now. So we do kind of want to do -1 times that. Zooming in, zooming out, zooming in, zooming out. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Don't need that for now. And now we can basically do the same thing with the pinch and zoom handling, which is here. Okay. So handle to, let's get rid of let's hide this pointer stuff. And then here we'll just do if delta size is positive or negative, right? And we'll just say math.sign this. If I do this, and if I do this, in, out, okay. And we'll just do this. And I think we might have to invert it as well. Okay. In, out. Okay, it's super juddery, but it's kind of doing it. Now, what it doesn't give us, the centered zoom, which happens how here, where, when, what. It's working relative to pause. So we want our centered zoom to be relative to the center point here. Okay, that shouldn't be hard. That should just be ABB 0 plus plus 2 for the x, right? So 0.5 times these two. And the same for the y coordinate, right? We take half of the sum of the x's and the y's. That should give us the center. Whoop. The problem is, here we're not calculating relative to our thing. So the position, the x and y position stuff here isn't necessarily accurate. So we kind of want to zoom in and out around xy. In, out, xy. So the xy needs to be calculated down here, which means we basically have to reactivate all of this. Zoom delta. Next zoom level. The problem is the x and y and all that stuff depends a lot on the other things, right? All right, let me just reorganize this a bit. So these have no dependencies on these. And we'll do an in-out value, right? So the in-out value is this. We'll do let in-out equals that. And then we're using the in-out value here. Right. None of the other stuff affects us at this point. Right. And we're moving that over here. We're moving all of that up to here for now. In-out is this. Okay. But now we need the x and y off this zoom. Now these go up because they don't use any of the other stuff. They use this, which goes to there. Okay, so now we have the max zoom levels, the zoom delta. The maximum level doesn't depend on any of that, so that goes there. Zoom level delta. Zoom level. Okay. Zoom factor. And for now, if I get rid of that, go back to here. Okay, so that works. Hey, Chameleon. I'm alright. I'm alright. I'm a bit mad at ADB and crappy event support in browsers and all that stuff. But other than that, nothing unusual. So I'm trying to pull apart the code that does the zooming from the code that does the repositioning in a way that I can reuse the same zoom function for different sources of this information. The problem is the position here, in this case, comes off of the event. So this position is the client X of the event, and then I'm using this to to align it. So this is all very specific to the mouse position, I think. Get event position. Now the get event position actually relies on client X and Y. Does that mean if I switch our touch stuff to client X and Y, it'll work? Maybe. So maybe, because I'd like to move this calculation into here. I'm a bit annoyed that I have a dx dy here. I think the position is what gets passed in, and everything else happens after that. If I do this basically here, and then don't do any of this here, and then instead of xy here, we'll just call this pause. Would that still work? No. Oh yeah, we're recalculating that. And let's do all of that. Let me separate the positional stuff from the scaling stuff. So this is all positional stuff. I'll just put that into a separate variable block here. None of that is used in any of these. And pause is a global thing. So we're affecting the pan position here to make it all work. We'll have to be careful that if we don't use the pause, that we have a way of doing this with just doing a plain... In the future, we might have a button that we want to press that's just XY, right? So, handle wheel. Is handle wheel not happening? Right click is not working. Handle wheel is not happening. We had a crash, and now the extension isn't enabled. Alright, here we go. But right click still doesn't work properly? What the heck? Alright, didn't like that. Alright, anyway, the zoom seems to be working perfectly. No, no, don't. I hate this weird double cursor thing. I don't know how it triggers, and I don't know how to stop it, and it's... I've never wanted to do that in my life. Alright. So if I do this in the upper corner, it'll be small. So it's, let's see, here, it's at around 40Y. So it's screen relative. Okay. So now, let's go back to our other patient here. So if I do this, right, it's all gonna break, sure. We probably don't wanna do any of that stuff yet. Shoot. What happened? I touched it with the palm of my hand and now it's just gone. No history, no nothing? No, here it is. Alright. Ay. Delta size. I don't want... Why is it selecting? Okay. So we have two fingers. Got a size delta change. Yeah, no zoom is happening right now. But what I need is real X and Y's of these. So, blah, 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 blah. We need this. Pause equals all of this. Of course, we don't necessarily need to calculate it all the time, so we probably will move it into the thing. But let's put it there so we can take a look. And let's change what we're looking at here. Grab... Wait, this one no longer useful. Let's grab a larger puzzle. This one. How about this one? Okay. All right. So I can now do this and zoom in. I can put a finger somewhere. So Y gets to 40. Okay. All right, so this looks like it should more or less... And then we'll still have a problem of touch events. While we're panning and zooming, we need to prevent the other events, right? Double cursor in this editor too. What do you mean by double cursor? Oh, this one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, it's only awesome if you actually practice using it and use it on purpose, and I've never have. I'll just type it once and then copy and paste it, and that's what copy and paste is for. All right. Pause. It's very rare that you just like that copy and paste will just it's silly. It's for very specific use, and I'm sure the guy who put it in had a use for it, but it didn't make the product better. That's the problem. All right. So if I now pass position through from here, it should kind of work, right? So pinch, pinch. Okay. Okay, that feels pretty, like, it feels like the zooming happens from where my fingers are. Now, again, this selection while panning and zooming is going to be a problem, but we'll deal with that later. Like, it feels very much that the center of the zooming... Now, it doesn't rotate, right? But I move my two fingers around the screen pretty well. And it works pretty good. Now, the problem is, obviously, by adding a pinch to zoom gesture, I can no longer use double swipe for pan. I'll have to calculate that myself. But we could potentially have that as one thing, right? Like, we could... Like, while you're doing this, if I pass in a 0... 0, 1, zoom delta. If the zoom delta is 1, let us try that. If I pass in a 0 here at all times, can I use this for panning, basically? Which just kind of makes sense, right? And we could basically get rid of the pan code altogether. And then a pan is just a zoom without a zoom, right? If I do a touch and I drag it around... The problem is, if this happens, we don't actually get a movement. A swipe gesture on touch devices. Not sure what you mean by that. But you need to be able to pan if you're zooming in, right? And I'm figuring, since you're already zooming with multiple fingers, it'd be nice if I can just grab it with multiple fingers and move it around. The question is, you know, to distinguish a pan from a zoom, and since we're already only accepting zooms where the delta in offset is greater than a certain thing, I figured a two-finger swipe is basically this where the delta size is small, right? So the question then becomes... if I do the reverse, if delta size is smaller than that, then we use it as a pan, right? Now, the thing is, right now, the pan doesn't have a separate thing, but we should be able to find the offset as well, although we'll have to do the same thing with the prior position. So last pinch size. So we'll have to do a last pinch pause like that. Yeah, exactly. So we obviously, to get a delta, we'll have to do this. We have a position. We could blindly generate a delta now, or we could just say, we could just do this. If dot length equals 0, boom, dot push, pause, right? And then we'll do something like let dx equals 0 minus pause 0. Oh, no, not where I want to be. dy. I mean, I feel a bit silly to do this low-level stuff. I feel like this should be a solved problem, but I'm guessing I think this very often and then never is. And if it was easy, hey, everybody would do it, right? So does that get us what we want? So x positive, y... Okay, so it's exactly inverted, right? Of course it is. I was just guessing. Programming by guessing is my motto. Not recommended. Okay. Now, here we're panning like this. So we kind of want to do a handle pan function. So this handle pan should really be a handle mouse move, really. Handle start pan capture. Handle pan. So instead of handle pan, handle pan, handle pan, handle pan. This should really be handle pan. Handle pan. Handle handle mouse move. Ugh, this doesn't feel right. Handle mouse move. Right. And now we'll have a handle pan event. Pan dx dy. Something like that. And then instead of doing all of this, we'll pass our pan stuff into there. If mouse down, touch start. We'll do this. That's fine. Delta has panned. It's greater than min drag. Delta. Last pause. Last pause. We don't actually want to do all this. Do we want to do the delta position calculation here? Potentially, because we might have different delta positions in different systems. Fine. Okay. So this is our delta. Right. Refresh. Handle mouse move. We can't drag here. Is it because I disabled something, or is it because something else changed? Okay, so we have a delta, right? And then here we really want to do And I'm wondering if the min drag stuff should be within this system or within this system. Probably should be within, because we might have different tunings for touch and other stuff. So basically here we'll then call this dot handle pan delta 0 delta 1. Or shall we pass these in as an array? Just pass it in as an array. dxy. Like that. Then we don't do any of these. But we might want to call has pan true, because that's part of this subsystem here. And if I do this, and now I have this, right? The handle pan happens there. And then we more or less need to do these things. And then we can add some more filtering here if we need to. And pause then gets moved up to, whoops, up to here. And pause plus equals dx dy. Last pause. Last pause. Last pause. Okay. Is that? Where does the position comes from? Last pause. The last pause should really be hand pause then, right? Because pause minus last pause is delta. Yeah, okay, so that's kind of circular. We kind of do last pause equals pan pause. 0, 1. And then pan pause gets updated to the new position. And then we just update the transform. Okay, I think. Ooh, nope, 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 nope. No, 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 no. Shoot. What's going on here? Okay, that's wrong. Yeah, I don't know when I got to that habit. I think back in the day when I didn't have internet and I didn't have things that run and check and blah blah blah, and I had to learn things from sources that were very sparse, and I had to, well, actually maybe that's where it's from, because I had to experiment a lot, and it was more like scientific research than application of engineering principles. And then afterwards, this is what they're supposed to look like afterwards. So pan gets very large very quickly. Why? So last position is this and this. Pan position. Why is pan position negative? That shouldn't be possible. Wait a second. What's going on here? Pan position and last position. Last position. Delta. We're getting a delta, which is very small, 6, 0. Why are these so different, though? Huh? Last position equals this last position or position. I think it's because I'm not initializing them correctly, right? So start pan capture. We have last position getting initialized. Pan position isn't really getting initialized here. So maybe we need to initialize them both. All right, it still shoots off into infinity and beyond. They're very similar. then the delta gets bigger. So we've moved them in the opposite direction. Why did that happen? Delta, position, and position minus delta, and then... No, but this is independent, right? Position minus last position. That gets a little delta. Position is the current position. Wait, what? And position, last position. What do we need the last position for, even? Because it gets us our delta. No, okay, so this happens afterwards. Update transform. Update transform uses pan position, doesn't it? Pan clause. Okay, that's correct. Well, I'm really just trying to refactor these couple of lines of code and trying to move them out into their own function, so it shouldn't matter. Problem is, I didn't really design this well. This was a very quick, hacky prototype, so it probably is a bit leaky and not well thought out. We got our delta. Our delta gets very quick, very large, very quick, right? Delta... If I'm moving it here, the next delta comes from last pause. Now pan pause, where does that get initialized? Pan pause is here. So pan pause shouldn't get updated. Yeah, no. Pan pause gets initialized elsewhere as 0, 0, basically. So what I added just now is not correct. Like here. But it might be interesting to listen to these. So on start capture, what is pan pause and last pause? And initially it should be 0. Right? So, whoop. Pan pause should be 0. 0, 0. Okay. Where does pan pause get modified? Delta, handle pan. Pan pause is minus 24, minus 27. Why? Why is it not just straight up 0, 0? Because we're looking at it before or after the reset? Reset. And we'll start pan capture. This panning is roux. If I do this, right? And that. And handle mouse move. Let's just look at these events in what order they're happening. Okay. Start pan capture fires twice. Or is it just I'm outputting start pan capture? I'm just outputting two things. Alright. Let's not confuse ourselves. Pan pause is a value at this point. Why? Attach element. When is the last reset happening here? Maybe that's the problem. The reset happens here. When the reset happens, pan pause should get set to 0. And update transform should be nullified. So let's take that and see what our pan pause and our scale is. Oop. So 0, 0. Oh, because the zoom, because I zoom in before I move, and the zoom modifies pan pause. In fact, why does update transform get modified with different scale levels? 1, 13. Okay, so then the first time we're actually doing a pan, our pan pause is 0, 0. And last pause is a large value. Now that doesn't seem right. Ah, okay. Because that doesn't relate to pan pause. Pan pause is our pan offset, basically. Yeah, that's you're right. I just realized as well. So, pan pause is our pan offset. I should probably rename that. Let's do that later. Last position is just when we start panning, we're resetting last position to the last event position here. Start pan capture, basically. We're pressing down, we're measuring the thing. As I'm moving the mouse, our delta is relative between the current position and last position, right? And it should just be this. Something like that, right? Then we calculate the delta from that. So, handle pan, handle mouse move delta. Let's indent that. And then what happens after that? Because the last position should really get updated down here. As pan is true. And we'll do that here. Okay, so this is not related to this, really. So last pause we don't really handle here anyways. And has pan true, I don't actually know how that's going to relate. Okay, alright, that fixes that. And we can zoom in and we can drag. Okay. So now, if we go to here, refresh that, right? Minus x plus y minus y. Okay, so now we should be able to call handle pan by this amount of delta. The only thing is, how do we reset our... So we need our own last position here as well. Similar to our other one here, our pinch pause, right? So, last pinch position. We're just putting all 4 in. No. We could put the last AABB in. So if we have a current AABB, and let's make this a function, right? So we'll say touches to AABB. Something like that, right? We'll just do something like this. And then we'll just return that. Boom. We'll just do this. And we'll pass these in here. And then we don't have to do that. And I don't think these are used anywhere else. No. All right, and then we'll get AABB size, AABB. that. Like that. I'd say that the position to track is the average position of all pointers. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now, the question is, how do we update the last thing, right? And I don't really... Here I'm pushing the singular position, which loses us some information. So we might as well track the last AABB basically, right? So if this dot last AABB equals undefined, we'll just say this dot last AABB equals AABB, right? And now we can do delta size, delta everything, right? And we'll do AAB size and AABB position. And that's basically just this. Boom. This dot AAB position, AABB. This dot... Oh, I was supposed to work on the layout stuff today, and I'm stuck on this. I knew I shouldn't have looked into input yet. Input is difficult. Okay. Anyway. Last pinch size. This dot size. Okay. So I'm gonna go and do this like that, and then we get rid of that, and then we'll do let last size, or whatever. Last size is blah blah blah. This dot last ABB and last pause, yada yada, right? And then we want to output size slash pause, and last size slash last pause. And then we can calculate deltas, and then we can do more things. Right. So let's try that first. On the stream to learn what custom UI layout means, actually. Yeah, it's basically, I have some tools for moving UI elements around, and I just need to put them into an extension just like this. So I can just push these to the side and to the top and get them out of the way, And this is something Ranks has been asking me to do for a long time. And he's upped his Patreon support, so I really owe him that. I kind of feel bad. All right. Nothing is happening. What did I do wrong? Index error, unknown token return. Return AABB equal what? Right. Is that better? Handle touch move doesn't fire at all anymore now. Oh, because it crashed and that disables the defaults to off. I have to re-enable it. Let's just do that. Come on. Nothing. Did I break it again? I did. All right, come on. Reset. There we go. There we go. All right. We have touch move. Why do we have double touch move events? There should only be this one. 236, 231. 236 and 231. Huh? Oh, handle mouse move and a hand touch. Why is handle mouse? Oh, handle mouse move triggers at the same time. That's gonna be terrible. Streamers thingy. Yeah. Well, not just that. last position. So the problem is, of course, that we need to wipe it out when touch stops. And that's not obvious when and how and whatnot that's gonna happen. But let's try. So one thing I want to see quickly is if I do this and I tap once, we have pan pause, last pause, and we'll start pan capture. I'll stop pan capture. Where's my touch event? Boom, okay. If I go to the first touch, well, let's cut out the pan stuff for a sec here. Touch move. The first touch move event was this. Size position, size 0, position blah. Last position. So these were identical. Okay. So then what we should be able to do is let delta size equals last size minus size. And let delta pause. And our positions here on XY. Yeah, okay. So delta position is going to be something like last pause 0 minus pause 0. And the same for the Y coordinate, right? And then we should be able to output these as well. Delta size, delta pause. Okay, and let's just see if these make sense. Attach down, I move. Boom, it jumps. All right, what do we get? 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, clear. Move right. We get a negative X. Move up. We get a positive Y. Okay, so it's inverted. I do it every time. I have to do it twice. Every time. I should just think about it for 1 second and then get it right. Okay. So now we have the delta size and the delta position. And now we should be able to say if our delta position doesn't hit our threshold, we'll do a pan. The problem is we need to reset everything, except we don't actually want to reset because we want to calculate the delta until we hit the certain delta. So the question is, if somebody wants to just pinch to zoom, basically we'll need to have a minimum delta pan that doesn't get exceeded when you're just pinching to zoom. Oh, that's gonna be a bit annoying, right? But since we now at least have a delta position, we can do something like console.log. We can just do offset, right? Line distance. X dy. Wait, 4 points. Yeah, no, this is just distance. It's just the X, Y. Right. We can do distance, distance, delta position. And now we can use that as a threshold. So we can go here and I'm going to move this around, right? We can say delta distance 45, but initially our distance wasn't that great, right? So we can say if distance is greater than 20, console.log and, for example, right? And if I silence this a little bit, refresh that, what do we get? We get errors. Ooh, nope. Boom. 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 All right. Finger move. Okay. So we'll get a pan here. Okay. Clear. Boom. Move. We get a pan pretty easy. Now, what we should do is when we do get a pan is we should do a full reset. Right? Let's make it a little bit bigger. And when we do get a pan, we'll do a reset by setting... we're basically going to do this dot last ABB equals AABB. Right? That's, I think, all we need to do. So the moment we break into a new pan, we'll hit 50. Now we have a pan, and then it resets back to 0. Make that a little bit more obvious, right? And then either a pan or a zoom should break the whole thing. Hypotenuse? Alright. That's not a function I've ever used, I think, in my life. Back in my day, I had to implement the square root function myself from scratch, so... I'm just happy there is one. In fact, I just didn't use it, I just used square distances, you know? Like a good low-level programmer. And pan, okay. Now if I do a pinch... We're not getting any pans. Pan, right. Now, let's do the same thing for pinch. So, pinch happens on the delta size. If delta size is greater than 10, we'll do this. Zoom. And then we'll do a reset. So let's see if I can just do one or the other without getting one that I don't want, right? So I can 2 fingers move around. Pan. Okay. 2 fingers zoom. Zoom. Math dot absolute. For distance, it should always be positive, right? No such thing as negative distance, right? So, zoom, 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 zoom. So the problem is, if I threshold it badly, it won't work as you would expect. But let's try it. Okay, let's try it. So, if we want a pan to actually happen, we need to do this, right? So when we have a pan, we should have a pan delta, which is basically this. And when we have a zoom, we should just have a plus minus, right? So if I do this, pan, 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 and then zoom, zoom. All right. If we do a zoom, we'll do the reset, and then we'll execute the zoom on, not a delta position, but on just position, right? So that should work for the zoom. And of course, you guys don't see where my fingers are, so it doesn't work. Okay, it seems to work. And now let's do the thing with the pan. The thing with the pan. We're really just gonna do that. Handle pan, delta pause. Now that, I'm expecting it to be super jittery. Why not pan zoom at the same time? Because, the user might not want to, right? But I guess if it's smoothly enough, it should work. If it's smooth enough, it should work. So that's the problem I had earlier. Yeah, you're right. It should work. You should be able to just grab it, and each finger would kind of just stick to it, right? That's the idea. Now, I said earlier, my zoom function, I should be able to put 0 in as in out, and it should move it. Except it doesn't. Why does it not? Because we're putting in an absolute position, and we don't get a delta. That's why. So if we calculate the delta on the other side of the function, let's make a new function. Let's call it handle zoom and pan, or handle pan zoom, zoom pan. Right. In out pan, and the pan is just our XY delta, basically, right? So instead of passing in the absolute position, we're passing in a relative position. So the amount of zoom we need, the amount of movement we need to adjust for that particular pan. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm gonna mess with this for a little bit. But in the end, the most practical thing might literally be on-screen controls. There might literally be some, because large puzzle support is not going to necessarily be something that's going to be 90% of the time in the use. It's going to be something that's going to be in use 1% of the time. So maybe there'll be just some plus minus buttons and up, down, left, right buttons or whatever, right? Or to pan, you're literally clicking on a mini map, right? That kind of thing. Modal stuff, which personally I'm not a fan of, but if that's what it's got to be. Like, a lot of interfaces are really crappy because, like, oh, you accidentally selected a pin now on your map instead of moving your map, and I don't want to make it nasty to deal with, right? All right. And that's why I was hoping to do the dual finger pan only. But I imagine this is super dodgy, and it's not going to be super reliable. Anyway, so let's see. If I now call handle zoom pan, let's not do a zoom for now. And let's, instead of doing this, we're going to do this dot handle zoom pan 0 delta pos, and then handle zoom pan looks like that, right? So I'm gonna just move one finger around and it'll do that. Pos not defined. Yeah, okay. We have a pan here, so that's not gonna take any of this stuff into consideration. So dx and dy is really just pan 0, pan 0, and pan 1, right? And then these just go away. And that's just raw coordinates, right? Handle zoom pan 30 minus 6, 32. This should right now pan, but it doesn't. Handle zoom pan. So we got this, and update transform that. And the X and the Y doesn't change. Why? The tan is multiplied by the zoom factor. Is that a factor at all? I'm not sure. In other words, maybe because it's 0, it all gets nulled out. Gotta zoom in a bit. Now we're gonna grab it and move it. So the zoom factor is 0. Because our in-out is 0. But that should mean our zoom delta is 1. That's whatever that is. And then zoom level delta is that. We might have to kind of wrap this up a little bit differently. All right, we zoomed in. Clear that. I'm going to move. And what does that look like? Zoom delta 1. Next zoom level is 1.513. Zoom level delta is 0. Zoom level delta is next zoom level minus zoom level. Zoom delta, next zoom level, zoom level. Now we're not changing the zoom level, so that gets zeroed out. Pan position, pan times zoom factor. I'm trying to think. Makes sense for the zoom. The problem is, when we're zooming with the mouse, we don't have a delta XY. We have an absolute position that we want to zoom into and out of. And my music isn't playing anymore. Why? Like, it's in a playlist, and every now and then it just... I think it's not in the playlist anymore now. I don't see the playlist control, so it's now just in a list of songs. Like, why? I want to play this playlist of music, and I want to loop within that playlist. And I don't have the controls. And in fact, the playlist has disappeared now. Okay, now it's back. So it's while it's playing the playlist, it leaves the playlist. That doesn't make any bloody sense. Why would I want to leave a playlist while I'm playing songs from a playlist? Anyway, thank you, YouTube. Okay, sorry. So if I want to translate the scroll wheel situation, the problem with the scroll wheel, right, is that I have a zoom into a particular point without moving the point. So I don't have a delta, but I have a center of zoom, which what this formula is for, right? Now, when I'm zooming with a pinch thing, I want to zoom around a center point that I also want to be able to move. So we almost have either a static XY in the wheel situation or a delta XY, like an offset. But the offset needs to be relative, and the relative offset is handled within the subsystem, right? Ah, man, I'm trying to find where the interface is between the stuff that's agnostic to the input system and the stuff that's agnostic, right? And I'm struggling to figure out which bits go on which side. Like, do I need to pass in two things, an origin and a delta? Like, do I have a zoom center and a pan position, a pan offset independently? Or do I move this calculation into the other layer, right? Which also doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm getting tired. I'm also running out of time. Let us get rid... Like, let us just cut out the mouse wheel support stuff from here for a second. And do what you suggested. Just to have a completely independent pan and zoom mechanism, right? But actually, I think I have to do the same sort of inverse mathematics here. The way I look at it... let me see if I can find that sketch tool I had the other day. I'll have to look in Mark's chat. How long ago did he send me that? Quite a while ago. Where is it? Where is it? I mean, sketch. Scully draw. There we go. So, yeah, can I delete everything? Yes. So we have a space, right? And then I'm gonna put down a finger here and a finger here, right? And in theory, I want these two fingers to basically be on this circle relative to this object, right? So if this finger moves to here and this finger moves to here, I want a new circle that looks like this, which means we've now panned from the center of this circle, which was here, to the center of this circle. We've done this amount of panning, and we have done the change of radius in zooming. I know, but since now we've moved, and since how much we're zooming is relative to our movement in the original space, we now translate that space, right? We don't have an independent zoom. The zoom mechanism is relative, right? So if the object moves, and I'm pinching my fingers, now what I'm zooming changes, right? If you're holding an object and you're squeezing it and you're moving it over here, your left finger is somewhere else than it was before. Not just from the squeezing, but from the combination of the squeezing and the movement, right? So just as if I put one finger on an object and I move this finger, I want the object to move accordingly, right? If I put two fingers on an object, right, and I move both fingers, I want the object to move accordingly. But if I do this and move the second finger here, I want this side of the object to stay the same and this side of the object to move to here. So basically I want to zoom that object together like this, right? So even though the center point moved from here to here, the center point of the object actually also moved from here to here, right? But this part of the object didn't move at all. And of course, I'm here scrolling my mouse wheel on this point. I want the object to zoom around this point, even though I'm not moving the object, right? To be honest, I'm running out of time anyway, so I don't think I can solve this today. And I feel a bit crappy because I don't feel like I've made a lot of progress. I haven't got anything even remotely useful from the touch part. And I haven't done the layout thing. I feel like this is more of a... I should step back and think about it abstractly and just do the math first, instead of just trying to make it work. Because I know it can be done, and it's probably, the right answer is probably a lot simpler than what I have already. So starting over from a clean slate, knowing what I know now, might actually be much faster. And secondly, I'm still wondering if I can put something in for the other part. Hey guys. So anyway, I have only like 5 minutes left. So what I might do as a, I'm tempted to just rip all of this out. I don't think this will benefit. But I'm not going to do this right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a feature. And I think I started doing that ages ago. Custom pads. Promo. No. I'm going to take my large puzzle feature. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call it feature. That's really what I want to do right now, though. Probably not. All right, let's do something smarter. Let us actually wind this up correctly. So let us make sure that I don't destroy the existing functionality, first of all. Right. So first of all, we're going to make sure that all the pan capture stuff still works correctly. So we'll have start pan capture. I'm just going to make sure I don't destroy the stuff that I had working before. And restore anything that I've already destroyed. And then I'm better off building a new system aside of that. So we have the touch stuff, which I can then encapsulate. So we're just gonna hide these for a sec. Right. Now what did I... So, this, what was this? Handle start pan capture. Oh, no, the pointer stuff. Yeah, no. We can get rid of that. Right? I think touch move. I think we're gonna get rid of the pointer stuff. I don't think the pointer stuff helped us much. Okay. Then we gotta clean these up. Handle pan. So we did the rename there. That's fine. We can keep that. I think I might restore this. So we might just restore this back to its former operation. This dot pan twice. Don't know exactly what I changed here. I think that's just refactoring. Okay. Handle mouse move. I think this is needed. Handle mouse move. Why is this? Oh, because I renamed it. Handle pan, handle mouse move. No, that's fine. But I think at this point, this should already work again. We did a refactor on the zoom. Do I want to undo that again? No, because that works, right? So that's our zoom towards a point. That stuff is fine. It's the handle zoom pan that's the new thing that's not working correctly. We can move that down here. And then hopefully we're moving all the braking changes into this area together. We do want to look at this. Clean that up. Clean that up as well. It actually could be done. Pan first, then zoom right to the center. Zoom first, then. But there's no first. It's simultaneously, right? And there's no center as such either. The problem is the paradigms are different. With the mouse and the wheel, you have an absolute position when the zoom occurs, with no change in that position. While with the pinch gesture, you have basically the zoom and the movement simultaneously, right? And I don't mind handling those separately. I think my interface was wrong, where I was switching from doing the action, from handling the input versus doing the action, you know? All right, so handle wheel, handle zoom in out. Handle wheel. Handle wheel still exists. Handle zoom in out. Like, for example, these kind of limitations, they should probably happening elsewhere. Or actually, no, they should be happening here, not elsewhere. It's exactly where they should be happening. So we have the same limitations no matter which input is used. And then I think there's a large amount of broken code that I'd like to trim out. I think I can take all of this out for now. I don't think that's useful. And I think the rest is the old functionality still in place without any spammy logging. And if I do this, I don't think there's any touch events happening right now. Yeah. And I don't think this has changed. We're gonna update this and we'll just say large just code refactor. There's no change, there's no functional changes in here, right? And now let's see if in a couple of seconds because I know I have a couple of scripts here. Like if I paste this in here, it'll do this, right? And some of that is useful. So let's see if we can pull out one of those things and push them into that extension. And then that'll be the stream. And then I'm gotta eat. So it all happens in the handle resize. And here it's doing a couple of different things, right? It's VIL, so it's moving controls info. We have the board, the controls, and the other thing. All right, let's first of all take this and clean it up. So we get rid of any of this, of all the commented stuff, because I don't remember what this does, right? We'll get rid of any of the logging, anything that doesn't actually do the thing. Like that, that. Make it small. Make it work. Get rid of all of this, right? Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Alright. Now if I run that here... Oops. Alright, so it does that. So it moves the body inwards. It moves that up. It moves this over to the right. And it puts this in a ridiculous spot. Let's see if we can... Let's say only move stuff to the right and not adjust the up and down. And I remember I put a lot of effort in to adjust the up and down. So, margins, top margins, bottom. Grab padding between board and controls. Yeah, I don't think I can even do that much at this point. It'll take more effort than that. All right, let's at least figure out what's actively being manipulated. We have with the board here, we have the controls here, and the controls info. If we get rid of the board element here, is this used elsewhere? Yes. If we do this. Okay, so that doesn't affect the board. Unfortunately, that means this stuff doesn't move, which means we're moving the board first to get a new position for these. Okay, yeah, this is still more complicated. So I think what I really need is a simple push it to the right thing. And I think that's better done not based on the board, especially since with the zoom and movement, I already have full control of the board, right? So maybe we can ignore where the board is, because before I thought I had to move the board as well because it was a static component. And I wonder if adding the zoom and movement to the controls as a sort of layout design feature would be useful. The problem is the controls kind of have to be sized dynamically, and it's not really helpful to just place them statically somewhere. You have to attach them to a side. Like if I move it over and then I resize and it starts moving back into the center, it's not really that useful. So yeah, unfortunately, this is not something I feel comfortable that I can usefully squeeze into it right now. But lesson learned, I should have done that first. And then I should have done the UI stuff and the mobile stuff as a complete separate process and not try to kind of quickly squeeze that in there. Yeah, I'm paying the price for that. Alright, I think... Oh yeah, there was... Yeah, I definitely would like to see... Because like, something like that, how you would zoom that. Because that's the other thing, besides the user interface and the actual technology, I'd love to be able to detect places in the puzzle that are of interest. So for example, zooming like this might not be useful, but zooming like this might be much more useful. So you might want to be able to snap to 6x6 regions, and so then you have a bunch of algorithms to detect, okay, can I find sub-board regions inside the puzzle, you know, that kind of thing. And you might even go as far as looking into the solution and say, hey, can I find self-consistent 6x6 regions or 9x9 regions and things like that? So there's a lot of that sort of stuff that I'd like to be building. Ultimately, I'd love the setter to be able to determine where the boards are, have the boards individually marked up, you know? And maybe in the future even have multiple puzzles linked to each other with puzzle hunts can benefit from that as well. So, for example, the really big Sudoku Builder 2 could be split into segments and then have the segments linked to each other with the cells getting filled in as you complete them. And that might be useful for other things as well. So there's a lot of other ancillary features that I'd like to implement. But for today, I gotta call it, and I gotta think about what the next step, the next most useful step has to be. I think a basic layout engine is the next most useful thing. But that doesn't help me, you see. Having a capability in the STL helps maybe you for your project, but it doesn't help any solver, and it doesn't help any setter, because other setters won't know how to do it, and solvers won't ever see it, because the setters won't have done it, right? So certain things aren't useful unless the whole pipeline beginning to end across the setting tools and all of that stuff all work hand in hand, right? So I have to consider that as well. Like I've put in so much effort in putting features in that nobody knows, nobody uses, nobody benefits from, because they're depending on certain people knowing certain things, and some of that stuff just doesn't happen magically, right? That's the thing. I don't have a setting tool, and I've talked to Ranks about that sort of thing earlier, and I definitely certain basic things like, for example, adding formatting controls to rules text and having little collapsible sections in rules text is something I want to have, but implementing that in terms of markup and then hoping a setter will put that into a tool, and then hoping a developer will put it into a tool, and then a setter will learn about it. It's a lot of effort from my end for very few people to maybe figure it out in 3 months, right? But once I have my account system and people can, you know, put a puzzle onto their account, then I can easily give them an edit button and let them just WYSIWYG edit certain things like that have nothing to do with setting, like the polish of cleaning up a puzzle and editing the title and clicking a button to make the rules be a certain way, you know. So some of that stuff I'm better off waiting for that, so then I can implement them very easily, you know. Because right now, what am I going to do? You know, have more buttons that create new URLs and all that stuff. It's a bit of a mess, right? The new puzzle with solution link is already bad enough. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, Chameleon. I really appreciate it. It really helps me to have somebody to kind of yell into the void together with. But in the meantime, thanks, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye bye. Thanks for hanging out, guys.